Alright, as the title says, it's about the Grand Traverse Mall being locked down just yesterday, Friday, July 27th of 2018. And I was reading, stuff on Facebook about the whole thing from the original Grand Traverse 911 post on their Facebook page there. And while I was reading it and just thinking about it in general, because the overall conclusion, nobody was a threat. It was just one of those people who called for whatever reason. I guess they perceived it as a threat, or they thought they saw a gun or whatever. But ultimately, because of the outcome, no one got hurt, no one was shot, everyone's safe, thankfully. But what this reminds me of is the whole situation in general, really. It grimly reminds me of a scenario that I went through not too long ago. Now, if you're someone who, religiously watched my videos or whatever, you'll remember that I posted a video about about someone calling the cops on me not too long ago, like, what was it, a couple months ago or something like that. Where I was simply walking downtown with this camera that I'm using right now and the tripod that it's on. I had the strap of the camera wrapped, over my neck and shoulder area here, and it was attached to the tripod. Therefore, I'm not carrying the tripod and the camera with my arms and all that, and I can use both arms if I need to for whatever the reason. Just for convenience reasons, comfort, and so on and so forth. And so anyways, I had it over my shoulder and all that, and it was nighttime, and I was just strolling along, just kind of walking around, and as the cold weather was finally subsiding and it was starting to get warmer out, so of course I'm going to want to walk around, all that good shit. And some twit went and called the cops on me, somehow mistaking my tripod with the camera on top and everything as being as the police said, word for word, a long gun. Long gun. Bang bang. As the police told me. So after they made their triangular perimeter around me, like they're trying to do some sort of military type of whatever on me, sort of tactical military style perimeter around me, which, by the way, if you watch the video, I totally saw them set that up. I explained in full detail of how I observed them literally set that perimeter around me. And then I heard the two police officers coming up from behind me as they did the whole. First officer says, put your hands on your head. So of course I did, because I knew exactly what was about to happen. So I did that, and then he flashed the flashlight into my eyes, of course, doing the whole blinding me thing, so I either cannot see him so well, and it distorts my visual perception. And then I heard the two other officers running up behind me so they could covertly make me a non-threat. No, I already was, so whatever. Anyways, two other came up behind me scenario, and then all that pat me down and see and confirm that in no way, shape, and form that there was any sort of threat or weapon on or around me. So long story short, this seems to be some sort of Traverse City trend, because, oh my god, there's all these mass shootings around here and there's basically none going on in Traverse City, so let's hype that shit up in Traverse now, because oh my god, we gotta be like everyone else. In this scenario, it's good that we're not being like everyone else. Anyways, I shouldn't be worried about possibly being shot by a possible trigger-happy, excitable police officer. As such, we do know that there is more that is more than a viable concern in today's world, as there are many, many, many officers and instances where officers are like that in this world. So that is a legitimate concern. Or just in general, have the cops called on me just because I'm a goth in an overprivileged city who's just a photographer carrying around his equipment. Just walking around downtown, carrying my equipment, being my goth self, so I'm labeled as a threat because, oh my god, he's a goth, so he's definitely someone to be scared of. What I am saying here is it's a two-way street when it comes to these scenarios, where there is no threat at all. From the real victim standpoint, aka the accused, even though not being a threat and thusly having falsely reported upon, that the person who is supposed to be the supposed gun carrier, their life could have been on the line, just like mine could have been on the line, even though, just like me, being completely innocent. How fucked up is that, right? They could be the falsely accused. If they're not mentally and emotionally strong, they could be really affected by this, even even so far as possibly even being traumatized if they're really that weak or whatever, emotionally or mentally. Or if they have a mental illness, that could really fuck with them. Just by the police doing their thing, which I understand, by the way, so don't get me wrong. I do understand why they do as they do, of a tactical perimeter and following through accordingly. As such, they could just be some random fella, like myself, just randomly walking on along, just minding his own business, just like I was, and then all of a sudden bombarded with police aggression and military-style tactic of, whatever, out of nowhere for legitimately the accused, the falsely accused / victim, aka the person who was falsely called upon, such as myself, for no reason, just to find out that they were accused of being some dangerous gun-wielding person. Not only that, but it's a huge inconvenience for the falsely accused, such as myself. I know it surely, theoretically, killed the good mood and day I had going on that night for sure. I literally went home shortly after the police dispersed, and I was beyond annoyed, as seen in the video, should you go watch it, of me summarizing and describing and telling of the police encounter and the whole situation that night of when the police were called on. Anyways, however, I do want to point out, I am very glad that everything ultimately turned out okay, and everyone was safe, along with this. Just as I said to the police in my very own falsely accused situation, thank you to the police for doing as they do, and following suit given the information that they were given. They don't know if it's legitimate or not, so I understand they're just doing what they have to with the limited knowledge of the actual situation. So I am in no way hating on the Traverse City Police Department or Grand Traverse 911. I am, however, just wanting to point out from the perspective of someone who personally went through a situation of being falsely accused of carrying a gun, even though Michigan is an open carry state, in the downtown Traverse City area. With all the mass shootings that have been going on for the past few years, I am, like I said, understanding of these situations. But I am, like I said, also wanting to point out that it is egregious from the standpoint of someone who legitimately isn't a threat to anybody, but yet still has the held on them. Not only that, but just from an intellectual standpoint concerning this particular scenario at the mall, a lot of people mentioned that there's Dunham, which sells guns and so on and so forth, at the mall, which is a gun-free zone. So let's put one and one together. Considering the location of all, of it being a gun-free zone, it's kind of ironic that guns are sold there in the first place. And so that oversight seriously causes a problem here, because here it is in a gun-free, zone selling guns. So you don't think that that's gonna cause a problem? Such as this scenario. I mean, it's a perfect scenario, Could have been someone who got a gun at Dunham's and some twit called the cops on him, There should have been better, it should have been better thought out, or some sort of better procedure when it comes to Dunham's and their selling of guns, because obviously, if you're in a gun-free zone and in a popular place such as the mall, and you're selling guns and you don't think that's gonna, possibly be a threat or a possible issue, then you are so very mistaken. So, I mean, just from an intellectual standpoint, and that is a huge oversight in regard to the Traverse City, Grand Traverse Mall department area, whatever you want to call it. It's just kind of that Traverse City logic, man. Okay, let's go sell guns at a gun-free zone. Oh yeah, highly popular, lots of people always there. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, that isn't gonna cause a stir or a panic or a situation or a legitimate concern, because if they really wanted to, they could buy a gun, buy some ammo, shoot up the place. It's not that, far from being a real thing. It's a real scenario that could really happen. Should someone be that out of their mind or whatever, or determined, whatever you want to call it. So it's not out of so what I'm saying, it's not out of the realm of possibility of happening. Yeah, so again, Traverse City logic. But all things aside, like I said, I'm glad everything turned out fine and all that good stuff. But ultimately, there's got to be a better procedure on things. But I'm glad that there are people out there that are gonna, if they see something, they're gonna report it. But these people are typically stupid people or something, because you know, like in my scenario, calling the cops on me, even though all it was a tripod. It's just like, at least try to confirm that it's an actual gun, you know, an actual threat, an actual issue here, before you go and call the fucking police. And in this scenario, maybe inform the Grand Traverse Mall security? I mean, so they can look at cameras or do whatever they do for their procedure to confirm that it's possibly a threat. And if it is, then good. They can call the police or whatever. And if not, then yay for not wasting police resources and causing a mass panic and all this other shit. I mean, come on. Be a little bit smarter before you call the cops and have them shut down an entire fucking mall. And in my scenario, why would I just be walking around downtown with a gun over my shoulder?